to another episode of Pet Pals. I'm Bethany Davidson, the humane educator here at Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center. And with quite a task ahead of him today, with our animal wrangling, is our volunteer coordinator, Sean Snyder. Our first guest today is one of my favorites. I spend time with Tribble every morning. He is a fantastic cat. We don't have a ton of cats on the adoption floor right now. Most of them are older, and people still want kittens, so these guys often get overlooked. Right now, with only probably less than 15 cats on the adoption floor, a lot of them are adults, and some of them are shyer, which makes, they don't stand out as well. But Tribble is not shy, so it's pretty crazy that no one has really taken a liking to him, especially since he's a beautiful cat. He's that great orange tabby color that people really seem to be interested in. He's incredibly confident and affectionate and playful. He has all of these really great qualities, but for whatever reason, people aren't really taking an interest in him or any of the other great adult cats that we have on the adoption floor. He can be a little bit vocal, as you might be able to hear. He definitely expresses when he's not super happy, so he might be better suited to a home with kids that are a little bit older, or just cat-savvy people who are able to read body language. But in my experience, he loves having his face massaged and loves some attention. Really been digging, obviously, catnip mice and toys with feathers and treats. You can't go wrong with food. The staff say Tribble every morning tries to pretend like he has not been fed so that he can get seconds, because he loves a good meal. So these are just, a few of the things that are going to make Tribble an excellent pet.
So as you mentioned, he has so many great qualities, but he does have some medical issues that people should know about before they consider adopting.
Yes. So Tribble is what we would call FIV positive, which means that he has tested positive for feline AIDS. In the past, that used to be a much bigger deal, and people were less willing to take those pets on. But even in the last year, we've probably had 6 or 7 FIV positive cats that we've adopted out. People often don't understand that illness. And the easiest way to describe it is that it's kind of like HIV in people. So he does have an illness that makes his immune system a little bit more compromised, but there's no treatment for it necessarily. And as long as he is not getting any secondary infections, he can live, a long, happy, healthy life. It's not something that's easily spread amongst cats, so he could live with other animals that don't have this condition, or animals that also have a similar condition that he has. And so, while that might be a little bit of a factor that's holding him back, it's not as big of an issue. And again, we've adopted out probably 7 of those cats with similar issues in 2023. So it shouldn't be something that you're afraid of taking on. And if you do have questions about it, our staff are happy to talk to you about Tribble's medical condition, as well as any of the other wonderful qualities that he has. If you're interested in visiting with Tribble and making him part of your family, then you can go to visit fcac.as.me to book an appointment to meet him. A little bit of a treat for our viewers. We don't really have a lot of cats on the show anymore, but now we have 2 cats this episode. Our next cat is Layla, and she has been with us for a little bit of time now, since the beginning of December. And she is a beautiful gray tabby, also not super excited to be out of her cage and in a new environment. She's about 2 years old, and she in her cage, and any of the cats especially, that you see on the floor, are a little bit different when you engage with them in their cage, because this is uncomfortable for them. Their cage has become their home space where they do feel safer. But Layla is incredibly confident in her cage. She's one of those cats that is quick to come to the front of the cage and start flirting with visitors. She really wants the petting and the attention. While she's been with us, we have started to learn more about her. She is a bit of a treat snob. She will not eat the chicken temptations. Fortunately, her neighbor Tribble, who you guys have already met on the show today, is happy to eat anything that she discards. So she really loves attention and affection, and she loves a good play session with some catnip. whether it's on a toy or we do sometimes the paper bags and we put some catnip in there and she just loves it. She rolls around and really shows off kind of her goofy, playful side when that's available to her. We do have more information about her than maybe some of the other animals because she was previously owned, and so her owner was willing to give us some of that information. They did say that she can be initially a little bit shy, but that she is very friendly and calm. She does have an independent streak, which a lot of cats do. They kind of want attention maybe on their terms. When Layla's seeking attention, she wants it, but she doesn't necessarily want you to chase her around and solicit it to her when she doesn't want it. She is used to being an indoor-only cat, and that's where we want most of our animals to live. Living outside can be quite dangerous for them, and we kind of want to try to avoid that to make them as safe as possible and healthy as possible.
So we have placed some restrictions on her to make sure she's in the best fit home as possible. Why did we do that?
So some of the restrictions that Layla has, Layla needs to be the only cat. She also does not enjoy living with dogs, and she also does not like children. So she's kind of looking for that household maybe with, somebody who has, teenagers or, an adult-only home, not necessarily a family that has, grandkids coming over a lot, things like that, or at least younger grandkids. And the reason that we're giving those, kind of guidelines is because Layla was living in a home, and her previous owners expressed to us that these were not things that she enjoyed. And the greatest predictor of behavior in a home is behavior in a previous home. So while we might say, hey, Layla doesn't really like living with the cats on the cat floor, that's one thing, but this is documented. Like, she did live with another cat and a dog, and she did not like it. And they said that she only tolerated their children, which is not great. You don't want your pets to just tolerate your children. You want them to enjoy those interactions. So that's why we've been a little bit more strict about the homes that Layla could go to, so that she's going to be happy and the adopters are going to be happy as well. If you think that Layla would be a great fit and you're a home that fits within those parameters of what she's looking for, go to visit fcac.as.me to book an appointment to meet with Layla. The first dog we have on the show for you today is one of our largest dogs at 88 pounds. Everybody's looking for a lap dog. Typically, they're looking for something a little bit smaller, but this is the variety of lap dog that we have available. This is Buford Hammerhead III. He achieved that moniker because of his ginormous head with that nice prominent crease down the center, making him look like a hammerhead shark, but also he takes his treats kind of like a shark. He is an incredibly affectionate guy, does think that he belongs in your lap, wants to lean in, loves attention. He's just a big goofball, and everybody seems to really be loving him. He has more nicknames than I could name. I tend to call him Hammerhead because I think it suits him, but, Bufy, Boofy, whatever, like, he has tons of names, and everybody here is just loving him. He did have some initial interest pretty quickly, but then unfortunately that application fell off. So now he's here on the show trying to find another potential family. Again, super affectionate, super playful, a lot of really great qualities, but he is an 88-pound dog, so he is large and he is strong. So we're definitely looking for a family that can handle him in terms of walking him and things like that. He doesn't walk super nicely on leash. He pulls a lot, so he would benefit from a harness and definitely some training. It's really important to make sure that he doesn't think that pulling's an okay thing to do when he's out on his walks. As is the case with all of our dogs, we do behavior assess them and found that he doesn't seem to have issues with the other dogs. He, again, not super, any big issues with, food aggression or resource guarding or anything like that. We also want people to be aware that we don't make any guarantees that any of our dogs are house trained. Buford, like many of the dogs here, uses his outside runs or separate kennels to go to the bathroom, but there's not always somebody here to take him out when he needs to go out. So any owner, whether it's Buford or any other dog that you're taking on, you want to make sure that you're prepared to do some, at least remedial house training with your dog.
So Buford arrived with a skin infection, and we treated that. Has that since been resolved?
So Buford, like a lot of our dogs of similar breeds, the pit bull type dogs, tend to be prone to allergy issues, and he is like all of the others. It's particularly something that blue pits, like he is, suffer with more. So we did treat him. And basically what the situation is that they have allergy issues. They get very itchy, so then they start to scratch, and then those things get inflamed and open up, and then they can get infected. So we have treated him. He's definitely been getting, baths and things like that, but he's not resolved as much as we would like. So he's going to go back on some medication, and we might potentially change him to a salmon-based diet because it could be a food issue. So we're still kind of evaluating those things, but he is much better than when he initially arrived. But any adopter would also need to be aware of that you're going to be on the lookout for any flare-ups and things like that. So there might be a small extra vet expense in making sure that his allergies stay under control and he's healthy and happy. If you don't have an issue dealing with a dog with some allergy issues, and you like a dog that's going to want to take up all the space in your bed, then maybe Buford is the right one for you. You can make an appointment to visit with him by going to visitfcac.as.me. Our next guest might be smaller than Buford, but definitely still the same amount of energy. In fact, she might have more energy in a smaller package. This is Joy, and she's about 2 to 3 years old, another one of our many terrier mixes. And if you have an active lifestyle and a big yard, and you want a dog that's gonna, run your kids until they're tired, then Joy might be a good fit for you. She is recommended for, children of any age right now, although she did come to us as a stray, so we don't know what her exact history with kids is. So even though we think that she might do well, it is a requirement for everyone in the household to come and visit with your potential new pet to make sure that it is going to be a good fit. She might be too energetic and kind of, freak your kids out a little bit, or they might love it. So it's just, making sure that it's a good fit for everyone. And again, her energy level, you can see it right here. She's going to need a lot of exercise. So if you're looking for a dog that's just going to hang out on your couch and just chill out all day, Joy's probably not the best one. Very food motivated, so training will be something that she is capable of doing because she loves a good treat. She is very quick to realize when I'm walking through the kennels that the way to get her treat is to sit on her butt. She's excited. She's like, I want it. Oh, I have to sit to get it. So she does pick up on those things, but as Sean just showed us not too long ago, not great at catching those treats in her mouth. So the coordination might not be there. Very playful. We do our behavior assessments, and while they're not 100% indicative of how an animal is going to be all the time, we have learned that she doesn't have any real kind of issues with food aggression, just again, very excited about her food, willingly lets go of objects. So resource guarding hasn't been an issue that we've seen here in our facility. And while we're seeing mostly the energetic side, with all the weather lately, they haven't been getting out as much as maybe they need. So once she's had time to run off all of that energy, our staff has definitely seen an affectionate and cuddly side to Joy. She did try to get on people's lap when they were processing her. She really leaned in for those pets and things like that. So she has a good mix of both, but you want to make sure she's getting that release for her energy so that you can see both of those sides.
People will often ask if we have smaller dogs, and right now she's one of our smallest dogs. Is that correct?
That's correct. She is just under 40 pounds, making her one of the smallest dogs. She's 2 to 3 years old, so she is, this is about her size. She's not really going to fill out a ton more. We do have a Shindig, who's been on the show, our hound mix, who is a little bit smaller than she is, but he's only a year old, so he's probably going to fill out a little bit more and be at least as big or a little bit bigger than she is. So, we don't get those kind of small, put them in your purse dogs very often. So if you're looking for something a little bit smaller, a little bit more manageable, then Joy or Shindig would be your best options if you're looking to take home a dog from FCAC at the current moment. If you think that you can handle all of Joy's infectious energy and you want to make an appointment to meet her, the first step is going to be going to visit fcac.as.me. Our next guest is one that you're probably like, we've seen her before. This isn't a new dog, and that's right. Harley, this is going to be, I think, her third appearance on our show because, unfortunately, she's been adopted and returned several times. Harley is one of my favorite dogs that we have currently, if not my favorite of all the dogs. She has an amazing personality. She's a big goofball. She's very affectionate, and while it's sad that she's been brought back to us so many times. Each time we learn new things about Harley. So we have tons of information about her. First, she's adorable. She loves food and toys, and when she gets really excited, she sometimes goes cross-eyed when she's staring at her food, and it's adorable, and we all love it. She loves to have her butt scratched, and she lifts her legs up and does this little dance when you do it. She's very food motivated and will eat mostly anything, right? She is very athletic. She would be a great agility dog because A, she does have a lot of energy that she needs to kind of work out, but B, because she can jump up on a lot of surfaces. She can get up on the counter with ease, but we've been assured that she doesn't do it anywhere but here. When she's in a home environment, she doesn't jump up on the counter, but here she loves to do that. She'll ride in our little cart. She likes to sit on all the desk chairs like a person and, assist customers. So she's very capable and kind of fearless. So that would make her good for that. Or even like working dog programs, like because she has a toy motivation as well. Things like, search and rescue dogs, things like that she might be suitable for. She does sometimes get a little anxious, and when she does, she likes to lick. So she has previously in other episodes worn a cone of shame. We do have her on some medication to help with that, but it's also just about keeping her active, making sure she has lots of toys to play with, and she does love her toys. Other things that, we've learned is that she can be pretty dog selective, not necessarily loving the lady dogs, but is a huge fan of her neighbor, our longest resident, Achilles. They're kind of like in a little like a doggy relationship. They like to give each other kisses when they walk by each other's kennels. So she is capable of making friends with other dogs, just very dependent on that personality and their gender, honestly, as well.
So like you said, she's been adopted twice, returned twice. Have we gained any insight from that?
So the first one, it was because she didn't get along with the female German Shepherd in the households. The guy that had adopted her said that she was a great dog. He really enjoyed her, but the two dogs just couldn't mesh. And he didn't think it was going to get better over time. So he chose to bring Harley back to us. And then the most recent one is Harley is a very strong dog. She doesn't walk really nicely on leash yet. She's still working on that. But the family really, she was too strong for them. They were having some issues with that. They lived in an apartment. They didn't have a yard. So she wasn't getting as much exercise as she needed. And sometimes when dogs that have a lot of exercise needs don't get those needs met, they can have some behavioral challenges just because they're bored and they get into things. So that was also an issue. So now we know, like, she does, probably need to live in a home with a yard where she's going to get that exercise that she really needs, and somebody who is more capable of handling, just her strength and size. But otherwise, we love her. We think she's going to make somebody a great pet, and it's just she hasn't found that right family yet, and we'll continue to help Harley until she does find the perfect family for her. If you have heard all of the good things and some of the not so good things about Harley today, and you think that she's going to be the dog that you were looking for, then you want to go to visit fcac.as.me to make that appointment to visit with her. The last dog that we have for you today was actually our newest arrival. Just went on the adoption floor the day before we filmed this. So she is, very new and already getting a lot of interest. This is Alex, and she is a 2-year-old mountain cur mix. And you might say, well, what's that? Or how did you come up with that? So because Alex was owned, that's the breed that her owner gave us. And when it's written on owner's paperwork, we go with the breed that they listed. If a dog comes in as stray, we go with the breed that we see as most prevalent or most evident. It's always kind of a bit of a guess. So that's what we're going with Alex. We did a little bit of research on the breed. It's basically a hound. And that's what we saw with Alex. And she has been exhibiting kind of those hound behaviors, very quick to put her nose to the ground, things like that. She is a very smart dog who has had some training under her belt. She knows sit, down, come, roll over, and stay. She, walks fairly nicely on the leash, does well in the car. She has also done well living previously with not only a cat, but also a rabbit. without any issue. She's lived with children of all ages, including babies, and apparently is a lover of all dog friends. So Alex has a lot going for her. She probably won't be here with us very long because she has so many options and has had that experience living in so many different types of environments that's going to make her suitable for basically any home. What we found is that, she's very friendly. She's easy to walk, which is different than most of our dogs, right? They pull a little bit, but Alex is not. No issues with her food aggression or resource guarding. Just very kind of affectionate, attentive, but also she does that cute thing where she like knows that she's supposed to wait, but she gets really excited. We call it the tippy tappies, where they're just like, I'm sitting, but I can't control how excited I am. So she's just, has all of those wonderful traits in addition to coming in a really, really super cute package, right?
So like you said, relatively new arrival, but we have all this information about her. So how do we get all this information?
So, a lot of our dogs do come to us as strays, but Alex was owned. And, anytime we have an animal that's owned coming to us, we ask their former owners. I know it can be difficult for them to kind of think about, but to give us as much information about the dog as possible, or the cat, or the rabbit, or what have you, because that's going to help us find the best home possible based on the information on how the dog behaved in a home. And fortunately for Alex and for us, her previous owners did take the time to really fill out that profile so that we had all of this information. A lot of them put the bare minimum on that, and it doesn't give us as much to make sure it's a good fit. And then you get situations like, Harley and Dwight and Mr. Peabody and some of those other dogs where, they got returned, again, because we didn't have maybe as much information to make those best fits possible. So we're grateful that Alex's owner took the time to really fill that profile out. And if, for any reason, you're out there and that at some point, you might have to surrender your animal, really, we want to use this as an opportunity to tell you, like, really fill out those profiles. Even though it might be difficult for you in the moment, it's going to be very helpful to your animal in the long run for us to have all of that information. So fortunately, yes, we know tons about Alex, and she's going to be a great catch for basically any family, regardless of, your kids, your pets, all of those things. So if you are interested in picking up Alex, the first step is going to be making that appointment to visit her by going to visit fcac.as.me. If you're interested in maybe making any of these animals part of your family, you can also find downloadable applications for our cats, dogs, and small animals on that booking website. And we hope that you enjoyed meeting some of these adoptable pets, and we'll tune in again for our next episode.